Hey guys, what is up? It's Cameron Talks Football, and I am back with another video. In today's video, I'm going to be going over all free agency signings for all 32 NFL teams. Some teams really haven't done any signings. I'm pretty sure there's some that haven't even done and I'm pretty sure there's some that haven't even signed one person, or they've probably signed one or two, but not that much activity. But I'm going to be going over teams one by one and just saying, really pretty much saying who they signed and all that. So the Cardinals signed J.J. Watt to a 2-year, $31 million deal. So that's pretty good. They get to build their defense. They re-signed cornerback Robert Alford to a 1-year deal. They re-signed edge rusher Marcus Golden to a 2-year, $9 million deal. Re-signed punter Andy Lee to a 1-year deal. They re-signed Tanner Villarjo or Vallejo, linebacker for 2 years, 4.1 million. They re-signed tackle Kevin Betchum, 2-year contract right there. They cut their kicker Zane Gonzalez, and they signed AJ Green today for a 1-year, $8 million deal. The Atlanta Falcons they've only done like three things, so really not that much stuff. They cut edge rusher Alan Bailey. They cut safety Ricardo Allen, and they traded a late 2021 pick for Buffalo tight end Lee Smith. So really not that much activity for the Falcons right there. But next is the Baltimore Ravens. They signed guard Kevin Zeitler to a 3-year deal for $22 million. They also re-signed defensive interior lineman Justin Ellis to a 1-year contract. They re-signed edge rusher Tyus Bowser to a 4-year, $22 million deal. They re-signed defensive interior lineman Derek Wolfe to a 3-year, $12 million deal. So that's pretty much it for the Ravens. I really think they should build. I don't know why they haven't signed a receiver yet, but they really should be right now. The Buffalo Bills, they re-signed Matt Milano, 4 years, $41 million. They re-signed tackle Daryl Williams to a 3-year, $28 million deal. They re-signed John Feliciano to a 3-year, $17 million deal. I believe he was on a 1-year deal, or I think that was either him or Williams that was on a 1-year deal last year. Now they got to get paid. And they cut defensive interior lineman Quentin Jefferson. They cut wide receiver John Brown. They signed veteran wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders when he got cut from the Saints. And they traded Lee Smith, like I said, for actually, I guess it was a 22 late round pick. The Carolina Panthers, they placed a franchise tag on Taylor Moton. They signed tackle Cam Irving to a 2-year, $10 million deal. They signed guard Pat Elflein to a 3-year, $13 million deal, and they cut edge rusher Stephen Weatherly to which not too many teams have gone too crazy. The only really teams that have gone crazy are like the teams like the Jaguars and like the Patriots and all that. Other teams just did like normal stuff. Like the Bears, they franchise tagged Allen Robinson. They re-signed kicker Carlo Santos to a 3-year, $9 million deal. They re-signed punter Pat O'Donnell to a 1-year deal. They re-signed Mario Edwards to a 3-year, $11.5 million deal. They cut tackle Bobby Massey. They signed quarterback Andy Dalton to a 1-year deal. So it looks like that's going to be the starting quarterback, unless they try and get after one in the draft. They re-signed offensive lineman German Affiati to a 1-year, $5 million deal. The Cincinnati Bengals, on the other hand, they signed a good pass rusher in Trey Hendrickson to a 4-year, $60 million deal. He played really good for the Saints last year, so that was a really good pickup for them. But they re-signed long snapper Clark Harris to a 1-year contract. They re-signed quarterback Brandon Allen to a 1-year contract. They cut B.J. Finley. They signed edge rusher, like I said, Trey Hendrickson to a 4-year, $60 million deal, which was really good for them in my opinion. They really do need a pass rusher since they might either trade or cut Geno Atkins because I think he does still have a little bit of value left in him if they do want to trade him. And then next, the Cleveland Browns, they cut edge rusher Adrian Claiborne. They signed safety John Johnson from the Rams for a 3-year, $33 million deal. They signed edge defender Takaris McKinley to a 1-year, $4 million deal. And the Cowboys, the really thing they only have done was sign 4-year, $160 million deal for Dak Prescott. The reason that this is good is that now they have the quarterback for the future, and now they can build around him, which I already do that. I think they already have that. Now I think they're going to try and build on that defense to see how far they can go, because I think they can win the division this year. Next is the Broncos. They place a franchise tag on Justin Simmons. They cut interior defensive lineman Jarrell Casey. They cut AJ Boye. They signed Shelby Harris to a 3-year deal for $27 million. They signed Ronald Darby to a 3-year, $30 million deal from the Washington football team. He actually played pretty good last year. And then the Lions also made a bunch of things by cutting and also signing a bunch of players. They traded QB Matt Stafford to the LA Rams for Jared Goff for a 2021 third rounder, a 2022 second rounder, and a 2023 first rounder. So they got 2 first-round picks and the third out of that trade. I think they did win that trade if you ask me. They cut both corners, Desmond Trufant and Justin Coleman. They cut tight end Jesse James. They cut center Russell Bodine. They cut linebacker Christian Jones. They cut QB Chase Daniel. They cut interior defensive lineman Danny Shelton. They re-signed edge rusher Romeo Okwara to a 3-year, $39 million deal. They signed tight end Josh Hill. I believe he played for the Saints last year. They signed wide receiver Terrell Williams to a 1-year, $4 million deal. They re-signed linebacker Jalen Reeves Maven to a 1-year, $2.4 million deal. And they signed Jamal Williams to a 2-year, $7.5 million deal. And they traded Michael Brockers. They traded a 2023 7th round picker, a 2023 7th round pick for defensive lineman Michael Brockers on the Rams. Packers, the only thing they've done is re-sign Aaron Jones for a 4-year, $38 million deal. And then they cut tackle Rick Wagner. The Texans, I'm going to go through this fast. They cut running back Mark Ingram. They signed running back Mark Ingram. They signed linebacker Christian Kirksey to a 1-year deal. Re-signed Vernon Hargraves to a 1-year deal. They signed Justin Britt to a 1-year deal. They signed Andre Roberts to a 2-year, $6 million deal. They signed linebacker Camus Hergier Hill to a 1-year deal. They traded for tackle Marcus Cannon from New England in exchange for several picks in the 2021 draft. It was a 4th round pick, a 5th round pick, and a 6th round pick that they that the Patriots got for that. They traded linebacker Bendrick McKinney to Miami for edge rusher Shaq Lawson. They cut Brandon Williams. They cut QB Josh McCown. They cut running back Duke Johnson. They cut center Nick Martin. They cut guard Senio Camildi. They cut edge rusher J.J. Watt, like everyone has already known about. They signed Malik Collins to a 1-year deal. They signed Terrence Brooks to a 1-year deal for $2 million. They signed guard Justin McKay to a 2-year, $4 million. They signed linebacker Joe Thomas to a 1-year, $2 million. Signed linebacker Kevin Pierre-Louis to a 2-year, $8 million. Signed quarterback Tyrod Taylor to a 1-year, $6 million. I don't know if they're going to trade Deshaun Watson. I don't think they should, but they might, honestly. We don't know what they're going to get out of them yet. They signed cornerback Terrence Mitchell to a 2-year, $7.5 million deal. And like everyone knows, the Colts have only traded for Carson Wentz. The Jaguars, they placed franchise tag on Cam Robinson, signed guard Tyler Shantley, signed Roy Robertson Harris to a 3-year, $24 million deal, signed wide receiver Jamal Agnew, signed safety Rudy Ford to a 2-year, $4.2 million deal, re-signed edge rusher DeJuan Short to a 2-year, $14 million deal, signed wide receiver Phil Dorsett, signed running back Carlos Hyde, signed safety Rashawn Jenkins, signed cornerback Sidney Jones, signed tight end Chris Manheritiz, I don't know how to say his name, signed edge defender Jaheed Ward, signed Shaquille Griffin, which is one of their biggest pickups, 3 years, $40 million. They signed D lineman interior Tyson Alou to a 2-year, $6 million, and traded for interior defensive lineman Malcolm Brown. They signed Marvin Jones to a 2-year, $14 million deal. He played for the Lions last year, played really great. Kansas City Chiefs, they cut both of their tackles, cut running back Damian Williams, and they signed Joe Thuney to a 5-year, $80 million deal. I have no idea where they're getting the money from, but they got it somehow. The Raiders, they cut both of their guards. They cut safety LaMarcus Joyner. They cut center Rodney Hudson. Traded Trent Brown and a 7th-round pick for New England for a 2021 5th-rounder. So the Patriots look like they're getting their O-line back, even though they did lose Joe Thuney and David Andrews. David Andrews hasn't signed to a team yet, if anyone's going to think about that. He might have signed to a team while I'm making this video, though. Signed edge rusher Unique Ngakoue to a 2-year, $26 million. Linebacker Nicholas Morrow to a 1-year, $5 million. Signed wide receiver John Brown to a 1-year, $3 million deal. Chargers, they cut the LA Chargers, they cut Trey Turner, they cut Casey Hayward, they signed Corey Linsley to a 5-year, $62 million deal. Re-signed cornerback Michael Davis to a 3-year contract. Signed tackle and guard Michael Fleer to a 3-year, $21 million deal. Like I said, the Rams, they did that trade with Matthew Stafford. They re-signed edge rusher Leonard Floyd. Traded, like I said, Michael Brockers to the Lions. The Dolphins, they signed Michael Palardy to a 1-year. Traded edge rusher Shaq Lawson for linebacker Benardrick McKinney for they didn't really do that much there. Traded Isaiah Wilson for a 7th-round pick. Signed tight end. They signed a tight end, a quarterback, and a cornerback, and a D lineman. They signed Adam Butler from the Patriots. Minnesota Vikings, they signed edge rusher Stephon Witherly to a 1-year deal. Cut tackle Ryan Leaf. Cut kicker Dan Bailey. Cut interior lineman Shamir Stefan. Cut cornerback Cordera Contesserly. I don't know how to say his name. Signed interior defensive lineman Dalvin Tomlinson to a 2-year, and signed linebacker Nick Vigil to a 1-year, $1 million deal. And as everyone knows, the Patriots, they did make a lot of picks. They did make a lot of trades. They re-signed Cam Newton to a 1-year, $5 million deal. Re-signed cornerback Justin Bethel to a 3-year, $6 million deal. Traded Marcus Cannon for multiple picks. Traded for Trent Brown. They signed Jonnu Smith to a 4-year, $50 million deal. They signed Javon Godchalks to a 2-year, $60 million deal from the Dolphins. They signed defensive back Jalen Mills, 4-year, $24 million from the Eagles. They re-signed Dietrich Wise Jr. for a 4-year, $30 million. They re-signed Nelson Aguilar to a 2-year, $26 million. They signed Kendrick Bourne to a 3-year, $22 million. They signed edge rusher Matthew Judon for a 4-year, $56 million. They signed Henry Anderson to a 2-year, $7.5 million. They re-signed Carl Davidson, and the last one they have recently made is signing Hunter Henry to a 3-year, $37 million deal. So it looks like the Patriots did have a little fun spending some money there. And then the Saints, they placed franchise tag on safety Marcus Williams, cut Emmanuel Sanders, cut Janoris Jenkins, cut punter Thomas Morstead. No idea why. He was a really great punter in my opinion, probably just for cap space. Cut tight end Josh Hill, traded Malcolm Brown to the Jacksonville, cut guard Nick Easton, cut linebacker Quan Alexander, and re-signed Ty Montgomery and re-signed Jameis Winston. New York Giants, they placed franchise tag on Leonard Williams to a 3-year, $63 million. Signed a guard Kevin Zeitler to a. They re-signed. Oh no, they cut him. They cut Golden Tate. They cut linebacker David Mayo. They signed John Brown to a 1-year, $2.5 million. Jets, they haven't done too much. They placed franchise tag on Marcus May, cut Henry Anderson, signed Jared Davis, and signed Corey Davis to a 3-year, $37 million. And the only thing the Eagles have done is cut Tavon Hester, cut Deshaun Jackson, cut Alshon Jeffrey, and cut Malik Jackson. And the Steelers, they really haven't done that much either. They signed cornerback Cameron Sutton to a 2-year, $9 million deal. That was really the only big thing they have done. But the 49ers, I like what they did here. They're building up their offensive line, probably for Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's going to stay. They re-signed Jason Verrett to a 1-year, $5 million deal. Re-signed cornerback Emmanuel Mosley to a 2-year, $10 million deal. This is a big one right here. Re-signed Kyle Juszczyk to a 5-year, $27 million deal. Re-signed edge defenders Samson Abukin to a 2-year, $12 million. They signed tackle Trent Williams to a 6-year, $138 million deal. That is a really big deal for an O-lineman. Even though he does deserve it, he was a really great O-lineman. And then they also signed center Alex Mack that they got that he used to play for the Falcons. The Seahawks, they cut Carlos Dunlap, cut Josh Gordon, cut Greg Olsen, and signed Aliko Witherspoon, cornerback. And everyone knows what the Bucks did. They placed franchise tag on Chris Godwin, re-signed Levante David, re-signed Shaquille Barrett, and re-signed Rob Gronkowski and also Tom Brady. And then the last two is the Tennessee Titans and the Washington Football Team. They traded tackle Isaiah Wilson for end of 2022 7th round pick to Miami for 2021 7th rounder. They cut Malcolm Butler. They cut Kenny Vaccaro. They cut Adam Humphries. They cut cornerback Mike Hilt, Chris Milton. They cut Adoree Jackson. They cut Dennis Kelly. They signed Danico Atari to a 3-year, $21 million. They signed Bud Dupree to a 5-year, $82 million to replace Jadeveon Clowney. And they signed tackle Kendall Land to a 2-year, $8 million deal, and also signed Janoris Jenkins. And the Washington Football Team, they placed franchise tag on Brandon Sheriff. They re-signed Dustin Hopkins to a 1-year, $2.5 million. They cut Alex Smith. They cut linebacker Thomas Davis. They signed Ryan Fitzpatrick to a 1-year, $10 million. They signed William Jackson to a 3-year, $42 million deal, and they signed running back Lamar Miller to a 1-year contract. And those are all the things that have happened for all 32 teams. If I did not list your team, that means they have not done anything in free agency yet, which I don't know why. Every team should try and do something. But I believe we're at 339 subscribers. I would like to get to 350 by the end of the month. I know we can do it. So if you guys can like this video, subscribe, and also share this video, it would really help me out. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.